So we're gonna be a little bit louder. Can you get a little closer? Sit right here. Love that jacket, by the way. I'm a big Reebok fan. Good morning.
Good morning.
Not everybody was included on this. We're gonna do it one more time. You ready? Everybody, you ready, sir? Go green, go white. 3, 2, 1. Good morning.
Good morning.
Much better, much better. Guys, my name is Mo Beydoun. I happen to be the mayor of the city of Dearborn Heights. And once upon a time, I was your age, and not too far long ago, because I'm not that old, just so you guys know. That's my neighbor, by the way, just so you guys know. My right next door neighbor. He's a very good man, helps shovel my snow, and then like charges me $10 and doesn't actually finish the snow. But we won't hold that Dr. Pepper shirt against him. The good news is, when I was younger and I was a part of about your age, I was very involved at the middle school and in the high school. And when I was in high school, I was a part of an organization called Students Against Destructive Decisions, SAD. And you would take part in these organizations and remind different students and different organizations the importance of being cautious, being involved, staying out of the streets, playing sports, doing different type of activities. And from my role there, I went on and got involved in Key Club Kiwanis and was a part of an organization that helped give back to those that were injured, like a man who was serving in Harat. He lost his limbs. His name was Brian Colfidge, and I was a part of this thing called Pastorama. And we were excited. We said we were going to raise $2,500. And back in 2005, 2006, $2,500 was a lot of money. Some of them making donations today towards campaigns, but we won't talk about that. We'll get there a little bit sooner. But we said we're going to raise $2,500. One individual said, we should put this out to the media. And it was the first time we said, media? Yeah. Like, it's called the press release. I said, okay, let's do a press release. And so I got in front of the camera and I talked on channel 7, 4, and 2. And I was 14 years old, 13, 14 years old. I was a freshman in high school. And they said, what are you trying to do? I said, we're trying to raise money to support the damages that happened to Brian Colfidge, who was a Dearborn Heights resident, graduated from Crestwood High School at the time. And he said, how much money are you trying to raise? I said, I know it sounds like a lot. It's under $1 million. It's $2,500. And this video actually went viral across there because people thought it was, it was cute because it was this young little boy in high school asking to raise money for this veteran that was damaged by a grenade. And later that day at Pastorama was you would show up, the police officers would pass out the pasta, and you would pay for a ticket. We ended up raising that day close to like $2,700, so we've exceeded the number that we wanted to. Towards the end, an individual came up, anonymous, and said, you want to raise $2,500? Did you raise it? We said we did. We raised $2,700. He said, I want to match, but I want to give you $27,000. And that day, I realized that public service was so important and embedded in each and every single one of us. If you're a firefighter, if you're a police officer, if you're the police chief, the fire chief, the emergency manager, the ordinance director, the council president, the mayor, or just a student, your voice can go a lot further than you imagine. And so it was that time, that day, at that age that I realized public service was something that was going to be embedded in me for a very, very long time. I went on to go to Wayne State University. I started an organization called the Lebanese Student Association. We wanted to be apolitical, but we wanted to give back services to those in the need in the Arab community. It is now the largest organization and went on to its 14th year unified gala. I don't say this to say like I'm here to, tell myself that I'm the smartest and I'm so good at doing something. No, it was my voice. And each and every single one of you have that voice. And it's important that you guys share those voices and share those experiences and give back. Because I promise you it will resonate with those and their families forever to come. And today in the city of Dearborn Heights, we have the honor of serving each and every single one of you, your schools. And I want to just tell you guys that whatever any of you need, however you want to echo your voice, if you need assistance from me or anybody in my city or here at the staff of the city of Dearborn Heights or in the city council, please let your voices be heard. Come to us, share your voices, and whatever we can do to help resonate that, we're going to go ahead and do that for you guys. And so I wanted to open up this discussion here today to tell you that aside from having me as somebody that's going to be on all of your side, you also have this entire city that's going to have your guys' back, including your administration. And we extend that over to Star International to let them know Whatever you need from us, we're here for you guys. So those are just my opening remarks. But I also want to let you guys know that the daily life of the mayor, there are a lot of ups and downs. You have 4 different entities across the city. My favorite happens to be the clerk, so I never ran for her because I love her so much. So she's here. Let's give her a round of applause to our amazing clerk. Lynn, can you stand up so they can all see you? Awesome. Can we give Lynn one more round of applause? A little story about Lynn. Lynn used to be a trustee. She was the decision maker for all the students at Crestwood High School. She was so talented that they said, we want you to be the records keeper in the city of Dearborn Heights. And so her role is coming in here together and making sure that what we vote on and what we allow and what happens is protected under the clerks and under the records keeper in the city. And she is like she's basically the brain of the city. She's the most important vital organism in the city. And we love you, Lynn. I'm gonna stop because right now I'm probably getting like a little off topic. Second entity in the city is our treasurer's department. She is the one that takes all the money from all of us, and we're like, so when you guys get mad and your parents are complaining about like why the taxes so high and they want to snap it, come pay the city, they're actually not paying the mayor, they're paying the treasurer. So you guys can give her a call and take your complaints with her. But that's the second entity. The third entity was an entity that I was once a part of and where I was first elected to, which is our city council. They're the legislative body. They are the check and balance between the executive and the legislative body. That's where the council chair Ahmad will stand and he'll give his briefing on that. But I used to, work alongside. Now he's kind of the one kind of pulling my ear and telling me what I can and can't do. Because we're not a dictatorship here in the executive's role. We want to make sure that we're following the rules and policies and procedures that the council holds before us. Then finally, the most popular and the best and the coolest is the executive office, and that's the mayor's office. And alongside the mayor, there are a bunch of different departments. And in that department, we have the honor of seeing our great police chief. Let's turn around and look at him and give him a round of applause. That's Michael Gazowski. We have the honor of seeing the greatest fire department in the world, by the way. If you guys don't know that, there was a thing on the Guinness World Record that the greatest fire department happened to be here in the city of Dearborn Heights. And that happens to be the future fire chief, Phil Hall. Let's give him a round of applause. We tend to have some struggling moments in the building department, but let me tell you, we always find a way to come through. And here we have our amazing deputy director of our building department, and it's Mr. Beydoun. Let's give him a round of applause. There are a lot of Beydoun's. It's like the last name Smith because our chief of staff is also a Beydoun. The mayor happens to be a Beydoun. There's a lot of Beydoun's that work in the city, but this is great news. We have the greatest, I sound like Donald Trump, but I'm not trying to be like him, but we have the greatest chief of staff in the country. I think a lot of the directors appreciate her. She's extremely direct. She's keeping me organized. And in order to have a good staff and have a good mayor, you need to have a good person behind that, and that's who Malak is. And let's recognize her. Give her a round of applause. Our ordinance director, he's not just our animal control, but he's also in charge of ordinance and animal control. His name is Yusuf Nasrallah. His brother owns the family doc in Dearborn Heights, right on Warren. He might be some of your family medicine doctors, and it's his twin brother. We have not Dr. Nasrallah, but ordinance director Yusuf Nasrallah. The first of her kind. Never happened in the city of Dearborn Heights, ever. Never happened that we have had a grant writer in the city of Dearborn Heights. Our grant writer actually comes out to the state and different departments and says, we need money. We want to make sure that our roads are safe, our trees are being trimmed, our police is properly vetted and funded. And so, instead of using all your taxes, because a lot of your taxes go to the schools and all these other things, we want to make sure that we can still capture some of those money at different levels. And so we have Nicole Hefty, that's also known as Nick, who's probably one of the greatest writers, greatest brains I have ever worked with. Her name is Nicole Hefty. She's sitting behind you guys. Let's give her a round of applause. And while things sometimes go good and things go wrong, you want to make sure that there's that check and balance, not just happening with our amazing council chair, but you're making sure that it's happening in-house. And so you have to have a human resource department. And our human resource director is none other than Pastor HR Director DeJuan Fisher. He's standing here in the back. He's also the best well-dressed. And every mayor needs some type of bodyguard and somebody that brings them back to reality. And every mayor needs that one person that's going to help him tackle some of those ongoing issues. And let me tell you, he's been tackling them all because he's a really big dude. He played football. He's been a police officer for 28 years. And if there's anybody that I want to protect me when somebody's coming to beat me up, I want to make sure it's Imo Al-Ziyat. And here he is. He's a family member to this community. A retired police officer, the emergency manager, the community liaison, a philanthropist, a nonprofit organizer, and somebody that has been coaching all his life, and he's been a mentor to me throughout my life and throughout my career, and we're lucky to have him. And so you can see this is just some of our department heads. There are a lot more, and there are a lot more elected officials. But I wanted to kind of bring this before you guys so you guys get a better understanding, so that one day, she doesn't want to do it because she's kind of falling asleep to this. Maybe one day you guys will become elected officials. Who here wants to be the mayor one day? None of you guys? There he is.
Yes.
Okay. All right. What's your name? Nice. What's your name? Imatahini. Awesome. One day we're going to have an election between the two of you guys. We'll see who wins. May the best person win. Fair? Fair. Democracy is always allowed. Briefly, I know I've been talking a little bit too much here, so I'm going to kind of stop back because I see some of your principal and your teachers like, all right, we'll get off the camera. And Councilman Ahmad really is dressed in a full three-piece suit. He's got a Gucci tie on. He's ready to speak to all the students here today. And he's got to go to work. Does anybody have any questions for me? Nothing.
Mayor, as an inspiration, these students are part of student government. Some of them are legislative, some of them are executive. We also have a judicial branch actually in the school. So one of the purposes of this field trip or training is to see that whatever they're doing in school, there's just one step bigger. You know, while they represent a constituents of about 1,300 or 1,600, now they're gonna, if they want to step forward after they become 18 years old, and they want to run for something that represents 50,000 or 60,000 or 100,000, that it is not as intimidating as it might seem. Can you reflect on that?
Absolutely. And let me tell you, I share this a lot with my wife and my children. I have a 4-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter. And I make it a priority that no matter what happens, I get to bathe my kids every single night and I get to put them to bed. Regardless of what's happening, unless I'm on vacation, I make it a priority. And sometimes that, you have to make certain sacrifices on saying I have to set aside what's happening at work after hours and say my family comes first. Or sometimes I have to make the sacrifices of my wife and my children and say, unfortunately, I can't be home to be able to, bathe my children, put them to sleep and have dinner with them. I have other priorities. And so those are the biggest challenges. The fear of not being able to provide. At the end of the day, what is in your heart, and if it's intrinsic and it's real and you're putting your best foot forward in the way of giving back to this community, nothing is going to be difficult. I can tell you, as long as it's sincere and it's real and you're doing it from the bottom of your heart and you're not doing it for fame and to get this recognition, but you're doing it because you care, then you're going to be successful at anything that you do because God will be on your side. I promise you, every step of the way. I'm a big believer in that. I believe that the only reason why I am here where I am at the age of 35 and I was blessed with a beautiful family and blessed with a beautiful city and blessed with beautiful staff, it is because God had that written out for me and that my prayers were answered. Because to believe that I got here because I was this cool young man that knocked on doors, absolutely not. We didn't get here because of luck. We got here because we did the work and we had the right intentions. And so if you do the work with the right intentions, everything else will follow. Brick by brick, there were people in the past that paved the way for many of us. And I mean that like Lynn Senior, our clerk, right? She fought the good fight. She fought the good fight for many years before it allowed for good individuals like our council chair, our mayor, our police chiefs, and our directors that are got here. You guys are doing the good fight today. And some of you are the executive, some of you are the legislative, and you guys are going to have those inner, conversations where like you may agree to disagree. Some of you have to compromise. You have to make the compromising of saying like this might not be allowed because this will happen. When you say something one way, you see things the other way. The art of government and politics is willing to compromise. And if you're willing to compromise to work together, you're going to be successful. The second you're always at a hard no, the second you're always at like this isn't going to work out, is when things are going to become difficult. And so if you can remind yourselves every day that one, you're doing this for the right intention, you're putting your best foot forward, and you believe that it's intrinsic and you're willing to compromise, you're going to be successful, no, regardless if it's the entire United States as being the president, or if it's the city of Dearborn Heights that represents 64,000 people. Regardless of who it is, I promise you, do it with the right intention. Do it for willing to compromise. Sometimes you have to get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. I'll share a little quick story with you. We're in the process of building a new fire station. Our current fire station right now is crumbling. We sat in a room, we've met with a bunch of different people, and the set goal that the state funded was $10 million. Yesterday, our generous fire chief walked up to me, Phil Hall, and was like, hey man, this isn't going to work out. The price is $11 million, bless you. The city doesn't have all the bells and whistles, and it's not going to work out. Like, we don't have the $11 million. All we have is 10. We're $1 million short. I said, Phil, don't stress. Don't stress. My intention is pure. I lose every opportunity that I don't take. I picked up the phone. I called the company partners. This is a true story. Yesterday, I said, bring this company to me today. Bring them to me tomorrow. This was yesterday at 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock yesterday, I said, bring them over to my office at 10 a.m. They said, well, they're a big company. They can't do it. I said, listen, there's $10 million on the line. Bring them to me and let's have a conversation. The truth is, I brought them into the room and I said, regardless of what happens here today, the only word I want to hear out of your mouth is yes. I don't want to hear no. I only want to hear the word yes. Is that correct? He said yes. I made him say yes about 5 different times. My chief of staff has never been in a meeting like this. She's been a senior advisor for Mike Duggan for 12 years. She said, I've never been through a negotiation like this that lasted 5 minutes. And all I kept telling her was, regardless of what happens here, the only word I want to hear is yes. Do you want to work with Dearborn Heights? The guy said yes. Do you want to take on this project? He said yes. I said, do you love the city of Dearborn Heights? He said yes. I opened up the door to my office. I looked at my executive admin. I said, read the envelope, read the paper that's inside your desk. She opened this up and it said, in 5 years, Dearborn Heights will be building a new city hall, or they're going to be building up, unless we sell to Star International, here at City Hall. And I closed the door. I said, I have a lot of projects that are coming to Dearborn Heights. Do you want to be a part of those projects? He said, yes. I said, great. Our budget is $10 million. We're going to go to 10.5. We're going to figure out the 500,000. Are you going to take the project at 10.5 with the brick and the metal roof? He stayed quiet. I said, remember, I only want to hear the word yes. He said yes. I looked at Phil. I said, all I needed was 10 minutes and we're going to figure it out. The end of the story is, I told the man, don't give me any other option but the word yes, and that you're going to have a lifetime working relationship with the city of Dearborn Heights. And this Tuesday, the council chair doesn't know, and neither does Madam Clerk, but we're going to have that on the agenda where we're going to be approving the partners and this new company to be able to build out our new fire station. And I was able, let's get a round of applause. We were able to do that because it was called the art of compromising. You know, if they would have came back and told me, you have to pay the 11 million, I would have compromised. I would have. I was going to work with them and I was going to figure out a way. The truth is we have 10.5 million. I never told them that. Okay. I told them that we actually only have 10 million. We spent 500,000 already on design work. They're all like, what? Okay, we'll do 10.5. We always had 10.5. Now they're doing it for 10.5, but we're still going to Wayne County and telling them we still need 500,000. Now we got 11 million. And so now we get a little bit of buffer room. And so it was a way of negotiating and compromising and putting our best foot forward. And my hard stances were, it's got to be a brick building. It's got to have a metal roof. And it's got to have a pitched roof. And, you know, I asked for one more geothermal thing because I don't want a boiler. Because I'm sure some of you guys have heard, or I'm sure your teachers can tell you the boilers are not the best thing. But, because, you know, benefit analysis, I don't know if we're going to be able to get those. But we're working on it. Or maybe the extra $500,000 covers that. Who knows? The good news is, it was the art of compromising. And so I went in there with the intention of wanting to do good for the firefighters, wanting to do good to make sure that your families are safe. And knowing that we have these bays that can allow them to get out there as soon as possible in case of an emergency. And so I never thought, oh my God, I'm representing 70,000 people in that meeting. I was sitting in a meeting with just 4 or 5 people. And so a lot of the time you're sitting in these meetings talking to 4 or 5 people, but the social media, and you know that social media, because I know all you guys here got TikTok. I know my neighbor does because I see him on there. We know that you guys are a lot more involved on social media. You want to be able to reach out to the 70,000 constituents that you have, Make posts. You guys are doing it here today. This video is going to go, I'm sure it's probably going to go to your entire school, and people are going to look back, and we're going to chop off some things, and Angela's going to show some of the bureau here today, and we're going to use it for our videos in the future. But there's always ways of communicating with other people. As long as you're putting your best foot forward, don't lose your eyes off the prize, and that is giving back in services to our community. Good? Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
When you said building up, did you mean like literally like adding second and third floors to buildings as a way to like be more sustainable in our city?
That's a great question. And yes, so we know we have a building that's, believe it or not, I probably shouldn't talk about it here, but probably worth more to Star International than it would be to the city of Dearborn Heights. So if Star International is like, no, hey, like, we actually can't afford to have this, well, then we're stuck with this building. Are we going to build up on it, or do we find somewhere else? But that's here nor there. That's in the future. In 5 years, we'll figure that out.
You can always find a buyer.
Yeah, or our real estate agent can always find a buyer. But our chief of staff saying cut it out because legal saying cut it out, so we're going to stop there. Any other question here? Yes, our future mayor.
I remember gotten a little mad over this, but last summer, he said that our electrical bill was 120, and in January of this year, it was 400. And apparently, he said you increased the electrical bill. I just want to know why.
That's a great question. The DTE is not a public entity, right? It's privatized. DTE actually has nothing to do with the city. Well, it does have to do with the city of Dearborn Heights because we pay DTE. DTE has nothing to do with me or the city of Dearborn Heights. None of us have any control over DTE. I do have a good friend that knows some people at DTE, but that's not on us. You should have a conversation with your friend and tell them, the only thing that Dearborn Heights has control over is your taxes, and it's very limited because the school takes some, the state takes some, the county takes some, and then we get this very small chunk. So really, Dearborn Heights doesn't charge you on your DTE bill. You do get a water bill from the city of Dearborn Heights, but that comes through GLWA, and they wholesale it to us because we have to buy the water from somewhere, and then we sell it to the residents and at a certain unit price. But even that, let me teach you one other thing, because I didn't learn this until I was on council. A city is not allowed to operate or be like a business. The city is to provide services to its residents. The city can't come out and say, well, I'm going to make X amount of dollars on this to be able to keep it as like a rainy day fund. It's illegal. So we have nothing to do with DTE, and we wouldn't be in business today if we had to go out and charge somebody for any of those costs. Yes, sir.
My dad, we live in Dearborn, but we're moving houses. But when we used to live in Dearborn, my dad said that the taxes are too high and he cannot afford it. Once he needed to pay 10,000 or more, and he couldn't afford it. So
the cost of living is becoming a major topic in the city of Dearborn Heights and in the city of Dearborn, but really a lot of it also has to do with the state. The state has something called Proposal A, and this is my theory on things, and this is my personal belief. And Councilman Ahmad may agree or disagree, but across all of Southeast Michigan is becoming extremely expensive to live. And if you know, during COVID, inflation shot up. And Proposal A was in the city, and know that our 911 response time has increased drastically because our chief is doing a great job. Decreased. Increased in time responses, decreased in the time spent. Sorry guys, I have one more minute, one more question, but before I do any of this, I want to go ahead and introduce our council chair who's going to be taking over here, Hassan Ahmad. Just a little bit better dressed than me. Probably a better talker as well.
No, this is the better talker. God bless you guys. Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. I want to thank you first for being here and for being interested in local government. I want to thank the leadership in Star Academy for this initiative, and you're always welcome to the city. As Mayor Baidoun has mentioned, my name is Hassan Ahmad, and I have the pleasure of being the council chairman of the city of Dearborn Heights to serve you guys and serve the residents of Dearborn Heights. Why? Kind of like Mayor Baidoun, I wanted to pay it forward and serve my community, and was able to do that through leadership and public service. I know you guys in middle school and high school like to be more visual. Please meet your city council. In Dearborn Heights, we have 7 council members.
They are all elected officials, and they have a 4-year term, and they can run every 4 year. Currently, we have 3 ladies and 4 gentlemen on city council. But every city is different. Like for example, the city of Detroit has 9 council members, correct? Because the city of Detroit is way bigger, and they are considered full-time employees. Where in Dearborn Heights, we're only about 65,000 people. So I have a full-time job, but this is kind of me paying it forward in my community. What is city council? City council exactly is the legislative body of the city, as Mayor Baidoun has mentioned. We create and we pass local laws. We approve the city budget before. Like every city has a budget. Like for example, the city of Dearborn Heights, our budget a year is about $65 million to operate, to provide services to you guys and to the residents of Dearborn Heights. So in order for Mayor Baidoun and his cabinet to be doing all these services, they bring it to the city council, we go through it, and we approve it so we can provide those services. So we approve the city budget, we represent resident voices. So residents of Dearborn Heights come to us with their concerns, we try to listen to them, and we sit down with the administration to come up with solutions to work on their problems. And pretty much we provide oversight of city operations. Anything the administration does, we're like an oversight, like check and balances, like he mentioned. Anything they have to go through, we have to approve. So what does the council do? So we pass ordinance and resolutions. It's kind of like laws. Local government is just kind of like the state government, kind of like the federal government, but it's on a local level. We set policy that impact your daily life if you live in Dearborn Heights. But keep in mind, every city is different. Every city has different charters. They have different ordinances. They have different laws. And we do hold public meetings and hearings so we can listen to the residents of Dearborn Heights. And definitely we'll work with the mayor and the administration to make it better. So what does the council chair do? That's me. Basically, I lead the council body. I lead the council meetings. I have to approve that. Anything has to go on the agenda for that meeting. I have to approve the agenda. I ensure fairness and respectful discussion throughout the meetings. And I represent the whole council body at official events and also help guide policy direction. How decisions are made. Like I mentioned before, we usually have town hall meetings. We listen to the people, we listen to the residents. We discuss it all in open forum, open meetings. We discuss it between us. We sit down with the administration. We come up with solution. Then we come up with motions or resolutions in order we can pass it so the administration can work on it. The last one, so there's 7 of us, and usually you have to have 4 yes votes to pass anything. Sometimes the mayor can veto our decision, but we can overrule that veto with 5 yeses versus 2. To overrule the, correct, Madam Clerk? We need 5 yeses to overrule. So another issues we work on is public safety. The roads, infrastructure, parks and recreation, economic development, basically just to help businesses coming in the city. We see exactly what businesses needs, so we can help them, we can provide them with incentive so they can open here in Dearborn Heights. And definitely, community events and quality of life. So why local government matters? Because it matters in your daily life. You guys live in Dearborn Heights, or whether you live in Dearborn or Garden City or Inkster, it does matter to you, and your voice matters at the city level. You can attend meeting and speak out like a lot of people do in every council meeting. You can volunteer or serve on board, and you can run hopefully for an office. Like we have 2 mayors here, hopefully one day. So how you guys can be involved as students? Well, definitely you can attend council meeting. You can join student leadership programs. Probably that's where you are on with your school right now. I think we are working in the city on. Are we working in the city on program for? Or, I think the mayor mentioned something about that. Or you can intern with local officials. You can. I think we are.
We do have NHS students that would help.
Okay.
As far as their community service.
So we do have committees that students like you guys in high school you can be involved in, and you can intern with the local officials. You can intern with the mayor. You can intern with the council and any of the local officials here in the city. And definitely you can stay informed and vote hopefully when you're 18. So what's just another leadership lesson, especially for us in council. Not the mayor. Mayor likes to talk a lot, but on council we would like to listen. So we like to listen. We like to respect everybody's opinion. and we try to serve with integrity and be more solution-oriented versus coming up with problems. And definitely put your community first. So what issues matters to you guys most? Did you guys come up with anything? I mean, I know this is probably your first time being in the city, addressing local government, but if there's any issues that you guys, any questions, maybe how do you think like local government impacts students? I mean, we don't have any overseas over schools, but it does affect your daily life from the services that the city provide, from the streets, from the emergency personnel, from the police and fire. And I guess this is my question to you: would you ever consider public service? And I know Mayor Baidoon asked that question before, and I know we have, hopefully 2 mayors maybe in the future, but definitely public service is a good way to go to serve your community. And I can take any questions if you guys have. Saeed?
You have a full-time job.
I do have a full-time job.
At the same time, you serve on the city council.
Correct.
Can you explain to the students that that's something that they can do while they're even?
No, yeah, 100%. So like Saeed said, I have a full-time job. I don't have to be here every day, only if I needed to, like today. We do meet almost like every Tuesday. There's some stuff that we take home that we have to study when we have before the meetings. But like I said, like every city is different. Like Detroit, council members, there are full-time employees. They have staff and they have to attend every day. They have to go to the office because it's a big city. But most of the cities in Michigan, because they're smaller in population, most of the council members are part-time. And I know Mayor Baidoon failed to mention that there's 2 types of governments. There's a strong government and there's a weak government. In Dearborn Heights, we have what's called a strong government, which means the mayor he runs the daily operation in the city. Where versus many cities like Garden City next door, they call it a weak government. Why? They have a council, but they have a city manager. The council appoints a city manager who runs the daily operation. Versus in Dearborn Heights, the mayor is an elected official and he runs the daily operation. But definitely you can be involved in many stuff. Through the cities, we have different commission and committees that you can be involved to serve your community. And every city has them too. Like if you don't live in Dearborn Heights, every city have them. And if you don't want to like take it as a career as public servant, you can still be involved, have your own career and be involved. So every council member here, like we have lawyers, we have builders. So they come up with, they have different careers. Go ahead.
You said that you have a second job. So technically, how do you keep time? How do you stay on track?
Well, that's a great question. Yeah, it's hard sometimes. Like maybe I mentioned earlier too. Like, so you have to compromise. My wife, she's not happy with me all the time, but I try to make it happen. You have to be more disciplined. You can work on it and achieve the goal that you're looking for. It's not easy, but you can do it. You can do it for sure.
Are there any special purpose districts funded by the city council?
Any special?
Purpose districts?
What do you mean?
I don't know, we learned about them in class.
Special purpose?
DDAs.
DDA?
District.
Are you talking about DDA like special district? No.
Yeah, she's talking about a special purpose district.
Special purpose district?
Lower than the mayor level.
I think now she's talking about something different. I don't
So we
know.
have like TIFA in the south end, which is a special like tax increment that can be collected like from the county. It's based on the economic level of folks that live in certain areas. That would be kind of I don't know if that's exactly what you're talking about. That's a special.
Are you saying like we're different? We are the legislative body, so, and he is the executive branch. So basically, like he mentioned, President Trump. President Trump is the executive branch, and the Congress is the legislative body. So that us is just like the legislative body. Is that what you're asking about, like, or?
Yeah, something like that, except on the state level where,
On the state level, so we kind of like the House of Representatives on the state level, but over here they call it the city council. On the county level, they call it commission, the commissioners on the county level. On the state level, it's called the House of Representatives, and on the federal level, they call it Congress. All right, Halsa, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Hey guys, my name is Chief Gazowski, Chief Guzzy for short. Guzzy's been my nickname for years, so I just want to first say congratulate you guys because I heard you guys hired a new history teacher in your middle school. His name is Mr. Rinaldi. Mr. Rinaldi and I went to the same high school, many years apart, however. But he was my daughter's 7th and 8th grade history teacher, and he taught my son's 7th grade history this year up until he left. And I've got nothing but great things to say about him. My son loves history to the point now where he wants to be an archaeologist in Egypt. So I'm probably sending him the invoices for those classes, I think. So I'm here to talk about the law enforcement branch of our government here. And does anybody here know what branch of the government the police department falls under? Which of those 3 branches? Anybody? So we fall under the executive branch, right? We're the or the enforcement arm of the government, right? So, and how we interact with how we interact with the government is that we interact with our legislative branch, right? We have to enforce the laws that they pass. And then we have to deal with the judicial branch in that those cases and laws that we enforce eventually get adjudicated in court, right? By a judge or a jury. So that's kind of how we fit into the local government. There are 4 main components to law enforcement. We enforce the laws. We do traffic enforcement. We are in charge of public safety, and we perform public service. So, does anybody have any guesses as to why we may do traffic enforcement? Why do we write tickets? Go ahead.
So people next time they could follow the rules basically?
Correct, right? So we're trying to enforce the laws because we are trying to provide a deterrent, right? When you see or you know that police are stopping cars for running a particular stop sign or speeding on a particular street, people aren't going to speed, right? Or they're not going to run those stop signs, right? And so that has a lot to do with safety too, right? Because speeding cars and people running red lights and stop signs also is a safety concern, right? Because we're getting in accidents and people get really hurt in accidents, right? And so, do you guys know what laws that the local police department can enforce? So I'm talking about state law and our local ordinances. We are not authorized so we are not authorized to enforce federal law. We can only enforce laws of the state of Michigan and laws and ordinances passed here in Dearborn Heights. And that can be anything from a noise complaint or littering complaint all the way up to and including homicide, right? So, and I've been here for all of those, and we certainly have, we do run that gamut here in Dearborn Heights. So we can be kind of busy sometimes. So when we talk about public safety, right? What do you guys think? What do you think of when we think of public safety? You ask a lot of smart questions, so I'm sure you know the answer.
Enforcing the laws correctly and, keeping people safe and instilling trust within them.
I like that answer, trust, right? So the police department, one of the things we work on with our community is building trust. Sometimes it goes great, and sometimes not so much. But when we talk about public safety, we're talking about general safety, safety in general, right? We're not talking not just a police issue. We're working with our fire department. We work with our fire department to investigate accidents and crashes and things like that. And we work with our Parks and Rec director at things like the Spirit Fest. I'm sure you guys were all there. If you were there, you probably saw a pretty heavy police presence this year. And that's not because we anticipate anything or we think anything's going to happen, but we want the people that go there to feel safe. So public safety is creating an environment where our citizens can, in general, just feel safe all the time. Like that's what we want. That's our primary goal. All right, and then when we talk about public service, we're not out there just enforcing laws. We're not out there just making arrests or dealing with bad guys or writing tickets. We do many other services too. I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but the south end of our city floods a lot when it rains heavy in the summer. So we do a lot of public service in terms of getting people out of houses or getting people safe from floods, or we respond to fires and help with things like that, or we go to food banks, or we perform other community services that are not law enforcement related, right? It's just a service that we provide. Even something like looking for lost pets, things like that, right? And one of the ways, you talked about trust, and so one of the ways we build trust is that we try to install a concept called community policing. Does anybody have any ideas what that might mean? Dewan? I thought you raised your hand, Dewan.
Oh.
No. Go ahead, man. What's up?
Such as going out of the neighborhood, just knocking on doors.
Right. So there's when you get into law enforcement, one of the first things you learn is the founding father of law enforcement is Sir Robert Peel, and the concept, it's very simple. The police are the people, and the people are the police. We get our authority and our power from the people, right? Because they elect the officials that make the rules, and so really it means that we have to be integrated and a part of the community just as much as anybody else. And so we work hard, and we create programs to facilitate the building of the trust in those relationships. But community policing isn't just a thing with programs, right? It's a mentality, right? It's a philosophy that we instill every day in our police officers to be a part of our community, to participate at the schools, to participate at sporting events, to participate at community events, to get into the neighborhoods, to stop at the parks and play ball with the kids, things like that. Those are the things that we encourage at our police department. And then we do SROs. You guys are familiar with Officer Shoker?
Yeah.
You guys all met Officer Shoker? Yep, she's an outstanding police officer, and she was an outstanding SRO. We all really enjoy having her in the schools. She provides a great resource for you all in those schools as a mentor and somebody that you can go to. She's one of the most respected police officers we have, and you guys certainly were lucky to get her. So, and we have. Are you guys familiar with our Explorer program? So we have a Police Explorer program where I believe you can start as a freshman in high school and go all the way to your 18th birthday. And it's essentially a volunteer program at Dearborn Heights. We provide you with training, we provide you with uniforms, and you attend our events, like our community events, like we had our trunk or treat and our police night out. So you attend these events, and you're just like a friendly face for the community, and you interact with the police department and a bridge to the community, because the community members know a lot of our explorers. It's the children and nieces and nephews and grandchildren of a lot of our residents. So we have quite a few explorers, so they attend all those events, and then they get training too. Like Officer Jose will take them downstairs and let them play on our virtual simulation machine, and they do mock scenarios, and they do mock arrests, and they learn how to, they learn the business of being a police officer while they're young, just to see, maybe one day they're interested in it. But then they take that back into their houses and into their schools and into the communities and talk about the great experiences that they're having with the police officers. So those are the ways that we try to build trust in our community. So one other thing that was on the agenda that I want to talk about is we talk, it talks about specialized units, and we have specialized units in Dearborn Heights. We have a traffic bureau. We have traffic officers that are experts in investigating accidents and drunk driving crashes and things like that. And we have a DEA task force officers. Essentially, those officers are assigned out to a special group, a federal law enforcement agency, where they enforce federal law, drug law. And I got to be in a part of that group for about 4 years. And what that does for the city of Dearborn Heights is, believe it or not, some crimes in Dearborn Heights are bigger than our police department can handle, or bigger than our city, right? They're multi-jurisdictional. They can cross state lines or county lines. So we use our task forces to investigate those types of crimes. And then the benefit for us is if something big does happen here, we can call in those resources to help us out and figure out how to run a bigger investigation or something that may take a lot more resources than we can provide. And we have our detective bureau. Our detectives are assigned cases every day. I was up in the detective bureau for about 10 years. Recently left to become the chief. So, and those guys are out there every day. They're writing search warrants, and they're knocking on doors, and they're gathering videos, and they're talking to witnesses, and they're interrogating bad guys, and they're swearing to warrants in front of judges, and they're testifying in court at trials. Those are all the things that our detectives do. And of course, you guys probably all know about our K-9 officer, Officer Kokoy. Have you guys all had a chance to meet Twix? No? I'm gonna have to make sure you guys get to meet Twix. Twix is a cool dog. He's like a family-friendly pet. He's cute and lovable until he's not. So, that kind of concludes my presentation. And I wanted to answer your question earlier about what we're doing to keep you safe. So, the police department works with the schools. The schools provide us like an emergency plan because each school has their own policy. The police department can't really dictate what school policy is. So we gather those policies from the school, and then we have sort of experts at our police department that review those policies. That are, they have tactical training experience, and they have, SWAT experience, and they have school resource experience. So we get together and we review those plans, and then as officers once a year we have to train for like an active shooter scenario, right? Once a year we try to go do it in the summer when there's no school, so we can use schools, so that we're getting into the schools and knowing what the school layouts are and what they look like and where to go if something happens. So we've trained at quite a few schools. So we have those, and then we meet with the fire department, and we meet with our county partners and our state partners through the emergency management. And so 2 years ago at Crestwood, we did a huge tabletop with the state police and the county and us, and we created about 7 or 8 different scenarios that would happen, and where kids would go, where kids would meet, where the ambulances would go, what hospitals we would use, and we integrated all that. So that's the type of planning that goes into keeping you guys safe at school. Any questions? What's up, buddy?
I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but let's say, okay, so my mom from 6 years ago, she got a ticket, but the officer wrote some stuff that was not true. I have a video of when he came up to her, and he was being a bit racist because my mom was wearing the hijab.
Okay, so that's where the judicial branch comes in, right? So we enforce a law or an ordinance or a traffic violation that the state made, or that our student council, our city council made. And so we enforce that law. And if our citizens believe that law was enforced unfairly, then they go to court, and either a jury, or in this case, for a ticket, a judge would adjudicate that. Does that make sense? So, the police don't have the final say on everything. Really, a judge does. Does that make sense? Okay.
They have a judicial committee and they're sitting down, so they
Okay.
understand.
Yeah, so I remember when I was in 8th grade, I know I'm running short on time, but when I was in 8th grade, we had a scenario in which a CD, like a music CD, they probably don't know what a CD is, right? But a music CD came up missing, and we thought we knew who did it, and so we actually had a mock trial where we had a prosecutor and defender, and somebody was a judge, and we had witnesses, and we had a gallery, and so we went through this whole thing in 8th grade where we had a mock trial for a missing CD. I know it sounds silly, but it was such an enlightening experience. It was awesome. So I'm really proud of all you guys for doing what you're doing and volunteering for this group. We're going to need strong leaders. We're going to need vocal leaders. We're going to need people who are dedicated to public service and to serving your communities. It's amazing what you guys are doing. Go ahead.
Do you remember what CD it was?
It was Nirvana in Utero. I do. It was 1994. Yeah. So.
Chief, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, sir.
I'm just going to echo his sentiments from at the end. I really want to thank you guys for being here. The effort that you all are putting into student government is something that I wish more people your age, more young people would do. You all are the future. We're setting it up for you, and I think that sometimes we don't do the greatest job right now, but you all are going to be coming up after us, and you're the ones that are going to be taking care of us when we're older. So I really commend you for learning about government and coming in and trying to understand what we do. And I really want you all to know, what the mayor said earlier, each one of you can make a difference in the world around you. So don't ever forget that, right? Please don't ever forget that. So when we talk about the fire department and really what our goals are as the fire department, we pretty much have 2 primary goals, especially in the Dearborn Heights Fire Department. And it really comes down to preventing and suppressing fires and extinguishing fires. And the other part of that is providing the best paramedic emergency medical services that we can to the community. Those are our two primary functions for our residents here in Dearborn Heights. So we have the one division in our department that has 54 firefighters that are cross-trained as paramedics, or we have 6 EMTs right now, and we do both emergency medical services and firefighting. Okay, so that's 54. Then up in the front office, we have our administrative staff, and in the administrative staff, we have 1 fire marshal and 1 fire inspector. So their job in the fire marshal's division is to handle public education activities. All right, so has anybody ever had the fire marshal or fire inspector come in and read a book to you? Maybe ring the dog by? No? Some of you? Yep, okay. So they try to hit all the schools, especially like I'm getting, even myself as the deputy chief, March is reading month, right? So my schedule is starting to fill up for next month to go and read like all the kids in the local schools. So that's part of our public education. It really runs through the fire marshal's division, but like school visits would be one of them. We get requests to go to different citizen organizations, like could be a homeowners association, could be like a senior citizen association, and the fire marshal or the fire inspector will go out and speak to them. And sometimes if they're not available, the deputy chief or the chief will go out and speak to those organizations as well. One of the big things that we did a few years ago as far as community outreach and public education was we got a grant from the state of Michigan that supplied smoke detectors. And we had folks that didn't have smoke detectors in their house. Well, as you all are aware, smoke detectors, right, if they're working and operational, they prevent deaths due to structure fires, right? So we want more people to have smoke detectors. So we had a program where we got a bunch of free smoke detectors, and we went out and we installed smoke detectors in people's houses. The grant unfortunately ran out, so we don't have the smoke detectors now, but we always tell people if you can get go to Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever and get the smoke detectors, we will come over and install them, because a lot of times it ends up being folks that can't do that for themselves, right? So we'll come out and we'll install them to make sure that they're in the right areas, right? Maybe like by the kitchen, in bedrooms, we put them where they should be to benefit people. So that's some things that we do. As far as like our public relations side of things, we do our best to be completely embedded in the community. We want to meet our residents where they are, okay? Because we don't want to sit back and be like, "Oh, just come to the fire station." Like, I mean, it's good. Once a year we have we have an open house and we invite people to come to the station, but that's only once a year, right? So we really try to make as many efforts as we can to get out in the community. How we do that is through different charitable organizations and community organizations within Dearborn Heights and surrounding communities. And it really gives us an opportunity to get out and serve our community, not just while we're at work, okay? So we attend events quite frequently. Our inspectors, we get into building inspections, how we make sure that fire code is being enforced. So we have our fire inspector and our fire marshal, along with the public education things that we just talked about. They go out and they inspect 1,100 different commercial business occupancies that we have within the city, right? They want to make sure that the fire exit signs are lit up, that there's nothing in front of the door, like maybe there's a rack or a cooler that's in front of an exit door. We don't want that, right? So that if there's some kind of infraction, they let folks know, and then they have 30 days to fix that, make it right, and then they'll come back and do a reinspection, okay? So that's kind of what the job of the inspectors is. Our inspectors also work with the building department. They do what is called plan review, and they look over building plans. So if you wanted to build a new building or a new business in the city of Dearborn Heights, you have to go in front of, you talk to a lot of these different departments back here, but especially the building department, and you bring the plans that your architect gave you. And the building department is going to look that over and make sure that it meets all the correct building codes, which I'm sure they're going to talk about. But then they call the fire department, they call the fire marshal, they call the inspector, and they lay the plans out on a big table, and they all look at them to make sure that it has the right sprinkler system if it's needed, that it has the right fire hydrants around that occupancy, to make sure that if something happens there, they have the right fire suppression codes in place. They also enforce capacity, right? Like every room, a lot of times you'll see the signs in front of a room that say how many people can be in that space, right? We call them assembly areas. Yeah, we have one right back here. So the fire marshal figures out how many people can be in an assembly space to make sure that it's safe, so that we don't have too many people crammed in an area that if there's an emergency, folks are getting trampled or can't get out of that area. So that's another function that they do. Mr. El Zayed, Emergency Manager El Zayed, that was in here earlier, we work with him as the emergency manager to plan and prepare for man-made and natural disaster type situations, okay? So we're training every day, like on firefighting, on emergency medical services, but also for any kind of disaster response that's needed. The chief kind of talked about some flooding that we've had issues with over the years in the south end, so we have plans for that. We do a lot of training in hazardous materials incident response. We have telegraph that runs right through the middle of our city. There's a lot of hazardous materials that are transported via over-the-road trucks up and down telegraph on a daily basis. So we have plans if something should happen, and we train on how to respond to those incidents. We also train on technical rescue or urban search and rescue type incidents. Did any of you see anything about the parking garage over in Dearborn that collapsed on last Friday? Yeah, right. So we sent people from our department and some of our equipment that we have, because we have what's called the special response team, to go over to Dearborn and to help those folks out in getting that individual out of that parking garage. All right. So that's the kind of stuff that we are always constantly preparing for. As I said earlier, like just working with the building department on plan reviews, and like the chief said, we work together on making sure that the schools are safe and making sure that we have, folks to be able to take care of flooding issues. We also work with the water department and the Department of Public Works. If we have a hydrant that breaks, they're the ones that come in and fix it. Like I said, the building department, we work with the grant writer. She constantly is writing grants for us. So we work collaboratively, like all of the departments that you're going to hear from today, and the mayor's office, the city council, we all work together as a team. Sometimes it's not always great working together, like there's some friction sometimes, but we all work together because it's like a symbiotic relationship. We all affect and influence each other. Does that make sense to everybody? We also work with the 10 other communities that surround us. I was talking to a gentleman earlier today, and like us going to Dearborn on that incident last Friday, that's just one instance. We work with all of the other communities that surround us every single day. We're unique in Dearborn Heights that we're surrounded by that many communities. Most communities don't have as many neighbors as we do that surround their community, and it's just based on the geography of our area, okay? So that provides unique opportunities for us to interact with other organizations. That's my job as a deputy chief, to interact with those other chiefs from those other organizations, the police departments, the county, the commissioners, the state, all the way up to the federal level. Like the grants that the mayor was talking about today, some of that money, $500,000, came from Rashida Tlaib, right, from the federal government. So it's my job to go in and meet with those folks. So we have that relationship building that happens. Kind of like the police chief was talking about, we have a cadet program at the fire department. It's open for juniors and seniors in high school, and you as a student would go to high school, but then you can also go to Schoolcraft College. You end up getting all of your firefighter certifications and your EMT basic certifications for free, and you get college credit for those classes. So, and it's at no cost to the student. So if anybody is ever interested in that, or you think this might be a career that you want to look into, please contact us. Please get a hold of us and let us know, and we can set that up through Schoolcraft College. And then just to let you guys know, we have one student so far. He was a high school at Annapolis. He came to us when he was a junior. He went through the fire academy, went through EMT basic, and then we sent him to paramedic school, and he got all done, and he got hired at the fire department. He was 19 years old. He had no student debt, and he's employed with our department and continuing on. So awesome. I really appreciate your time. Do you guys have any questions? Anybody? No? Okay. All right. Yes, sir.
Once, like in the past, our house got on fire.
Your house caught on fire. Okay.
So then we called, okay, but when they came, they started like pushing around, like they were like being rude, like we were like.
Here in Dearborn Heights?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Far away, but then they started pushing us for no reason.
Okay.
They pushed my mom, they pushed my dad.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And then my dad got mad, and then they were like, didn't you call us? And then my dad was like, yeah. So they were like a bit trying to be rude and disrespectful.
I'm sorry to hear that. We try to be respectful to everybody, so like, how long ago was this?
That was like last year.
Last year? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm sorry they had a negative experience with us. Hopefully you won't in the future. All right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for letting me know that. Anybody else? No? All right. Thank you all very much. Oh, go ahead. Sure.
The library told us you guys had a chili cookout.
We do.
How
Yeah.
And it's once a year, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Can anyone come to it?
Yes, it's open to the public, and we have a Facebook page. I know you guys probably are on Snapchat and Twitter and everything else, but we have a Facebook page, or we have a website that you can go to. If you go on Facebook and look for Dearborn Heights Fire Department, that's where we put out all of our charity events that we do. So it's open to the public, it's free. There's a lot of cool things that go on, different games, bounce houses, things like that. So please come out and check it out. So thank you for the plug on that. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Sir?
What do you guys do at Chili Cookout?
What do we do? So we have about 500 people that show up. We have folks sign up to make chili, and then they make the chili, they bring it there, and then we have judges. There's folks that judge the chili cook-off. They walk around, they taste it. The public comes around and tastes it. So there's usually three judges that taste the chili, and they come up with the winner. And then the more coveted prize is what's called the People's Choice Award, and that's where it comes from all of the public that tastes the chili. They pick a winner. That's kind of like the best prize. And then there's a raffle with different kinds of gifts. All that money that we raise that day goes to charities. Most of the money goes to the Great Lakes Burn Camp, which is for children that have sustained burns. We send 20 kids every year to the burn camp. And then some of the other local charities, we use the proceeds to benefit that too. But there's food, games, like I said. So it's kind of really a big outdoor community picnic. So
A lot of really informative things too, like the
For sure.
Medevac helicopters coming in.
yes, that too. Yep.
Get up close to one of the emergency response helicopters. They can look it all over and talk to the pilots, things like that.
Yeah.
A lot of
Thank you for bringing it up. I appreciate that. Yes, sir. It usually happens in September. Second week of September? I think it's been the second week of September, like right after Labor Day. Cool.
We usually post it on our social media.
Awesome. Appreciate that. So we also appreciate the Thanksgiving dinner that y'all do for us every year. So thank you very much. Anybody else? Awesome. Thank you all for your time. Appreciate you.
All right, next we're gonna talk about another very important department.
Do you guys know what a budget is? Anybody want to give me like just quick and, yeah.
How much you can spend?
Yeah, budget, how much you can spend. I teach undergrads at Western Michigan University, this very same stuff. And one of the things that I tell them is a budget is a statement of our values. Because obviously, we would never spend money on something that we don't think is important, right? I mean, sometimes there are a couple things, like, a Starbucks once in a while. But we try to spend money on the things that are the most important. And so the city captures this money in a couple of different ways. First, property taxes, very exciting and interesting. If you own property, you pay a little bit to, have that piece of earth be yours. And what it does is it allows us to run our essential services. That money is used to pay our police, our fire, me, and other people too. The other way that we get money is through state shared revenue. So if you've ever bought something that was $9.99 at Meijer or Target, and then you get to the checkout lane and it's $10.59, that's sales tax. So we actually get a portion of that back depending on how much sales tax was collected the previous year. Another way that we get money is through fees. So if you have a dog, you have to have a dog license. And so those fees come into the city so that we're able to use those, for parks or for other services as well. Other licenses cost money too, like marriage licenses, opening a business, things like that. And then, of course, my favorite way to get money into a city is grants. I am the director of grants, and the cool thing about my job is that I actually have to know everything about this city. So I can't just know a little bit about the police, I actually have to know a lot. Same thing with every other division. So it's my job to ask Mayor Beydoun if he has any big ideas. And of course, if you've seen Mayor Beydoun, which you have, he always has these really great ideas. And so it's my job to actually find funding so that he can make this happen. We want to make parks happen. We want to, improve the life of the community. And so we do that through funds, through grants. I also get to ask people what their dreams are. I was the grant writer in the city of Dearborn. If you've ever been to a Peace Park, that was me. I was the one who found all the funding for those, and we want to do things like that in this city too. And we can't do it unless we bring funding in. But the cool thing about my job, another really cool thing, is that I get to make sure that taxpayers don't have to pay for these things. So for the Peace Park, for example, that was never taxpayer dollars. So what we want to do is we want to find ways to do the things that we really need to do, like pay the clerk, pay the police, but also we want to do things that we really want to do. We want to have more holiday celebrations. We want to have more parks, because these are the things that make us happy. These are the things that bring us joy. So I get to actually be the person who asks people what brings them happiness, what brings them joy, and then I get to try to find some funding to make it happen. It's kind of a neat role if you like creative writing and if you are kind of a nerd, like I am. So, might be something you want to consider. We also, as your officers have mentioned, we bring in money through fines and fees, so your traffic tickets and things like that. And then all of those fees, all of that income comes in, and we have to create a budget with it. Now, okay, we only have 3 minutes. So when we are creating a budget, we actually do it in a way so that we can serve every department equally. So we go to the staff of the department and we ask, next year, what is it that you need? Do you need another staff member? Do you think you'll need more paper? Do you think you'll need more paper clips? And then we put it in the budget and we turn it in. And over time, these different departments come together to build a large budget that is then brought to council. Once we bring our budget to council, that's when the citizens actually get to become the legislative body. Because the citizens can actually look at our budget and say, why are you spending $2,000 on parks? Or why aren't you spending $2,000 on parks? And so, the citizens get to weigh in on our budget too, because this is your money. Your parents are paying into the city, and so you deserve to be able to say, you shouldn't spend your money on that, because it's your money. And I think that that's kind of an important role as a citizen, right? Is to kind of be almost another checks and balances for the city. Now, I have a couple things, other things that I wanted to talk to you about, but we had so many great things that we wanted to share with you today. We're running out of time, but I'm really happy that you guys were able to come today, and we hope that you got something out of these presentations. If there's anything else that you want to know and that we didn't get a chance to tell you, our email addresses are publicly available to you. You are citizens, you are residents, you are very welcome to contact us if there's anything that we can do to help. So thank you guys.
Everyone, I will make it quick, hopefully fun and interactive. Human resources. I oversee the entire city and every department. I ensure the staffing needs for those departments. If there are any issues, complaints, internal investigations, whether it be trying to keep it light, disagreements or anything of that nature, I will do my due diligence and looking into those claims and allegations. As an employee, we have individuals that are part of our civil service and another set of individuals that are a part of our Act 78. These two have different hiring processes, but we do it to ensure that we're being fair across the board. All right. I work closely with the mayor. I work closely with the police chief, the fire chief, and every other department. And I get an opportunity to visit them sometimes. So I get a chance to go into the police station. I'm only allowed in a certain area. I only want to be in a certain area. I don't want to be in the holding cells. And I had a tour one time with the fire department. And they have some really cool toys. All right. The Jaws of Life. They let me pick it up and it almost knocked me over. I said, I got to hit the weight room. And so I get a chance to be a part of different departments, and because we are all one body, one team. I love the aspect of labor relation. Before going into HR, I was actually going into law, but it was a lot of reading. And I said, yeah, nah, not for me. I also have a musical background, and I can play and read 7 different instruments. And so I wanted to go into music, and I said, it's not that steady. It's not. I love it, and I still play to this day, and I teach my children how to play the violin and piano and a lot of string instruments. But HR, you deal with law, you deal with creativity. And so I work closely with those individuals to put on certain events for the city, and I try to spearhead every department to make sure that we are not violating anything within our contracts. We have 8 collective bargaining units, 8. And so I try to make sure that we are following all of the guidelines, and I'm the person who's supposed to know it all. And I forget. And so I have materials, and I have a wonderful staff, and it's not about what you remember, it's about how can you get the information that they need, all right? And so even though you may not be able to regurgitate it verbatim, you do have resources that you can always go to in order to get the answer. I know where to get it from, right? And so that is pretty much what I do in the city. Any questions? I do a lot of hiring, I do a lot of coaching, and outside of here I also help with our nonprofit and our church for those who want to work on resume building. You know, I do selective what we call it, target selection, and help those set themselves up to present themselves for an interview, what to wear, how to respond to a question, and you know, I do all of these different things in terms of HR. I'm also a part of the Association of Workplace Investigation, and so oftentimes I am called upon by different law firms to go and do depositions and study to give best business practices on how to avoid sexual harassment within certain claims or certain organizations. The one I did last year was Burger King, and so I've done a lot of work, a lot of different places in order to ensure that individuals don't make the same mistake and how to prevent those mistakes. I think I saw your hand up. What's his name?
Me?
Yes. Yes.
So my question was like, if you were to get a better future, so like let's say if right now I wanted to renovate my house, so I need to come and take the approval from you, from you.
No, so that's a different department. So if you have any renovations, you actually go to our building department, and they will make sure that you have the proper licenses and making sure everything's up to code. What I deal with is the employment side of it. And so if you needed a special license or a permit, then you'll go to a different department, and they'll be able to tell you what to do and how to do it. But if you wanted a job within our department, then I can help you get prepared in order to step into that lane. And I can tell you what type of trainings you may need, because I'm going to reach out to the director in that department, and then I'm going to have a job description, and then I can give that information to you and let you know the plan of action in order to get you where you want to. Great question. Anyone else?
One other point that hasn't been brought up a whole lot, but Mr. Fisher plays a very important role in that as a member of the clergy
Yes.
community. He serves as a counselor here in the city for the staff and in some cases for residents. If there's an unfortunate incident where there's a lot of trauma, someone's really bothered by something, they can come to Mr. Fisher, and he will do some counseling to help get those folks through it in a spiritual sense. So
yes, I am currently in school. I have my bachelor's, my master's, and I'm currently in school for my doctoral degree in apologetics and biblical studies. And so I've studied multiple backgrounds and religions, and I'm very sensitive to culture and everyone having their own identity and their belief system. And so what I do here, because we live and work in such a very diverse community, I don't push one religion more than the other, but I also understand when I am talking to someone that I'm able to be educated enough not to offend them, and also to speak their I can't speak Arabic, but when I say speak their language, understanding their culture, understanding their belief system in order to make them feel supported. And if I can't interpret their language, I got someone that can help me. And so I do provide assistance, and we're trying to really push that program a little bit better for our, not just police, but fire and everyone else. And so we're building a team of leaders within the community and outside of the community to be a support. Yep, got another?
Technically, in our community, there's churches. How come there's no like mosque close by in Dearborn?
That's a good question. Why isn't there any mosque inside of Dearborn Heights? That I wouldn't. There is. Three. Didn't we just build another one? Yeah, I know we just built one as well. So there are a few within the community, but and there's a few surrounding the community. But that's a good question. But we do have a couple, and I know we just built 3. We do have 3, and I know they just had a big old grand opening for one. Was that a couple of months? Yes, a couple of months ago. Any other questions? Awesome. Thank you for your time.
Roads are in good shape. The city buildings are in good shape.
Yes.
Water lines are
Everything.
are
Yep.
being repaired when they break, and putting in new water lines to replace
Yep.
them. All sorts of stuff going on with that. John?
All right, welcome today. Thank you everybody for paying attention for a little while, and hope you can focus on, I'm a little biased, but the best department in any city. The Public Works Department, as you kids go through your schooling, go through your different organizations, go through your interacting with teachers and other students, if you want a department to really dig into and it'll open you up into a lot of different professions, consider Public Works. So very hard to encompass everything the Public Works Department does in just a few minutes, but I'm going to go over just a couple of the main, day-to-day aspects of any Public Works Department, whether you interact with the Public Works Department in a smaller city, a larger city, county, state, federal level. We're responsible for all of the infrastructure that you see regarding our roads, bridges. There's a full network that I think a lot of people are not aware of underneath the ground. So there's a full network of infrastructure underneath the ground of pipes anywhere from 1 inch all the way up to 10 feet, 12 feet in diameter. So the Public Works Department's responsible for maintaining all that. So one of the things that I think gets overlooked in Public Works is all of the drinking water. When you go and you get anything out of your faucet, you go take a shower, you use the bathroom, all of that water has to be treated. Well, it has to be collected, it has to be treated, it has to make sure that it's safe to come out so that you're able to drink it. And then we're going to need it to go somewhere. So all of it has to be treated before it gets put back into the environment. So that is one of the main public safety focuses of Public Works. So every time you go open a drinking faucet or use any type of water, whether you're watering the lawn, watering the garden, just think about a few of these things as to where this water is coming from, how it's treated, and where it's going after, because there's a lot of work and dedication that goes into that. It's a very rewarding profession to be a part of. We're responsible for a lot of the hardware maintenance for all the other departments. IT, when they have things that they got to install or put up, or building maintenance facilities, right? When you go into a building, you want to know that it's safe, that it's going to allow you, it's not going to cave in, it's not going to fall apart, windows are not going to fall apart, you'll be in a comfortable environment, it's not going to be 100 degrees, it's not going to be 0 degrees inside. Our building maintenance department in Public Works handles a lot of those as well. There was a little bit of discussion about some of our traffic signage, stop signs, speed humps. A lot of these are public safety issues that then fall onto the Public Works Department to install, organize, put up, maintain, repair, replace. I'll open it up for any questions because I could go on for a very long time about Public Works. Yes?
So why don't you guys fix roads like it takes too much? I know it takes time, but sometimes it takes more than a year or 2.
Yeah, so as you can imagine, infrastructure is very expensive to repair. right? There's a lot of times when you deal with, Public Works is one of these departments that I really hope if, in the future, if your teachers tell you to dig into a different aspect of government or a certain department, Public Works has a lot of funding concerns. It's very expensive to fix roads, it's very expensive to fix things that are underground, and that is probably why a lot of the delays may happen, which is why we need a lot more, as you learn about local government and kind of guide where you want to go, we need more individuals involved because it takes a lot of work to figure out how to fix any part of our infrastructure. Bridges especially, so. Yep. Thank you. Yes?
Okay, so there's like a gas station, okay, like near Telegraph, okay, and like sometimes when cars cross it, it kind of goes like kind of fast, because like last year I could go hit my car because of
The traffic was going too fast?
Yeah, because like a car was like crossing Telegraph.
So one of the things that the Public Works Department would assist with, some things in Public Works take a very long time. So the police department comes to the Public Works Department and has a lot of data for a specific area. The Public Works Department will start to gather all this data and redesign intersections, redesign roads through engineering, and hopefully prevent some of those from happening in the future. It just takes quite a while. So if you're ever out somewhere and you notice any issues with traffic or something you think should be fixed or repaired, the City Hall or the Public Works Department's a very good department to contact, because we'll be able to take some of your information or some of your ideas and hopefully redesign streets, sidewalks, school zones in such a way that we won't have as many of those problems. Thanks for your question. Yes?
What if, when you're fixing like on a road on Telegraph, like sometimes like multiple lanes are closed and all the cars get diverged to one lane?
Yes, so Public Works is also a very dangerous profession, right? So there are workers out there. A lot of times you may be driving down a road and you'll notice a bunch of lanes are closed and it looks like nobody's working. Those work zones has to be set up ahead of time they got to be set up ahead of time to direct traffic, and all of that is a safety concern, right? Whenever that work crew comes into that work zone to repair whatever they need to repair, that traffic already has to be diverted. So we really do, police, fire, and Public Works, we coordinate a lot to try to get traffic to slow down. So as you interact with some of your friends, teachers, family, encourage them to realize that there are people out working in these work zones, even if you don't see them.
One more point.
Yep.
Regarding Public Works. I spent a number of years in the emergency management field, helping respond to large-scale events, major storms, floods, things of that nature. And we're blessed in this community to have a very good fire department and a very good police department. They're kind of in those unfortunate situations, they're kind of the public image of what happens, okay, and taking care of things. These folks really are the unsung heroes of the emergency field, because again, when you have a large storm, think about it, you've got massive flooding that just stops everything. You may have storms that have knocked down trees across roads, things of that nature. Guess what? Nobody moves until these guys, or these folks.
Yeah, if any of you kids really like big equipment, choose Public Works as your next little research project or something. We can keep it going.
But again, rarely discussed, but in the emergency management field, they truly are the unsung heroes of this events.
My name is actually Ali Beydoun. I'm the Deputy Director for the Building and Safety Department, Building Engineering Department. Our department actually handles the construction that you see every day in our city, whether it's homes or businesses are being, built. We make sure the plans are submitted by the developer or the applicant that actually have to go to an architect where they draw plans and submit them to our city. Once they're submitted to our city, we go ahead and review those plans to make sure they're code compliant and then they're up to our zoning and standards. If they're not, obviously after a careful review, we'll go ahead and go back to the architect or to the actual developer so they can make changes. Once those things are done, what we do is we issue the building permit. And at that process, that's why we see, when you look at a building like this, you think, oh, it's a building. But there was tremendous amount of engineering and actual building that had to occur before this building came about. So if you look at here, like I said, there's framing inspection, there's foundation inspection, there's other inspections like electrical, mechanical, and plumbing that would have to be done prior to occupying this building. So once that's done, whoever is the builder or the contractor would have to call and conduct different inspections at different times. Every stage has to pass first before you go to the next level. And like our fire chief said, we work with other departments as well. We work with the fire department, we work with the police department. So the fire department, like he said, we want to make sure these rooms or buildings are actually safe enough to occupy, people, and make sure there's enough egress, there's enough exit signs, there's enough fire extinguishers. All these things are important because public safety is really, really important for ourselves and for the city. That's some of the things that happen. And then also once a project is completed, we'll issue a certificate of occupancy. And then anytime there's a change in occupancy or someone wants to do additional repairs, we visit those sites occasionally to make sure things are done and are still safe for people to occupy. Whether you go to a restaurant or to a home or to a house of worship, we want to make sure those places are safe for you guys. So that's basically what we do. You have any questions or? No? What? The most boring department? What? If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have a house. So I'm sure you're gonna have questions. No?
It's gonna be the most department when you.
Yeah.
You do your basement.
Go ahead.
Renovate your kitchen.
So technically you're saying, let's say I bought a field and then I want to build a house.
Sure.
So I need to come to you and talk to you specifically about it?
Well, not me in specific. You come to our department and then you can come in and tell us what you would like to do. As long as that lot is buildable, okay, yeah, we'll go ahead and tell you, get yourself an architect, design the home that you want to build. And if you want to be your own contractor or you want to have someone else build it for you, they have to submit an application. That's when the plans review begin.
Over the years, like you've worked, has there been any struggle with like changing models of houses?
You mean like as far as design goes or? Not really, because what happens is when a design occurs, I'm sure you guys see in Dubai and stuff like that, construction like 50 years ago was never like this now. So things are changing. That's why young minds like you guys come up with new ideas and stuff like that, and then you come up with a design where we know it's going to bring out the future. That's why we do things. We do things to make it better for the next generation. So when you come in with a design, yeah, there might be a struggle, but that's where we meet up and make sure they're all in code, code compliant, and then up to safety, and obviously safe enough for someone to occupy. Someone might have an idea where I'm going to build a flying home. Obviously, it's not going to occur because we want to make sure the home is going to be stable where someone can actually occupy it.
Ali, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Area where Mr. Fisher resides down here. Again, one single office, so we'll go ahead and head down this way. And we've got a few more students here. We're waiting. Hold on just one second. You came in. Along here, you see the photos of all our past mayors that have served the city. And we have on this side, excuse me, our emergency manager and our GIS coordinator. That's the mapping aspects of the city. Okay, not exactly a lot of exciting stuff. It's primarily all administrative offices and things of this nature. If you get a chance to tour the police department or the fire department someday, you'll see some pretty cool stuff. Okay, here you have the cashiers area. You'll see a lot of folks are lined up here today because it's time to pay the property taxes. Okay, I think you heard a little bit about that in the presentations. So the deadline is coming up pretty quickly. So again, everyone is getting their taxes paid. All right. How you doing? Okay. This is our water department, okay? These folks handle all the activities relating to providing water to you folks. Final two offices we have, number one would be the mayor's office, Mayor Baydoun. Of course, he spoke with you at some length this morning, filled you in with a lot of information. One thing I stress is he is always available. If you have any concerns, if you have any questions, contact the mayor's office, and he will be very happy to talk with you, to meet with you, or whatever you need. All right? No? All right. Good? All right. Folks, thank you again. We appreciate you coming out today. I hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing you again sometime.